Well, hi from the studio again. I got woke up this morning with something in my head, and I've just been kind of pondering things all day long. So I don't know. I just thought I'd come out here and just talk about it because I don't see. Let's see where it goes. Um, it's about everything I've been talking about a lot. What is real and what is part of the decoration, I guess, or whatever. What the whole thing about who am I and all that. So when you're talking about that or you're thinking about it, and there is this duality within you that I started talking about, I touched on it the other day, and with the ego. So you have a conversation with yourself, the ego, that part that's always saying, well, when you want to do something, well, what if this happens? What if that? The thing with the ego is that it is manipulative, but it thinks it's doing the right thing because it has that position of duality. So if you are thinking of doing something that is different than you do all the time, then this voice inside of you is that voice that's going to question it. And it is a safeguard that we all have. It's the thing that says, don't go down that path. What if something's down there? And that's something we all need. But that it's also a tool that keeps us locked into what for any lack of any other word, is the matrix. That the film that is running everything, that the video that we're all in. But to understand who that ego is something, again, because you're having a conversation with the ego. So who is it that the ego is talking to? Who are you? If the ego is your rational self, or irrational in some cases, depending on how you look at it, what is that? That is a part of you. It is that dualistic mirror image of you. So whatever it is you are doing, you are going to get a reflection of that back at you, but it's going to be the equal but opposite reaction. It's going to give you all the what ifs if you do this. But what position is that ego in? I mean, what is it? It's this rational voice that is part of you. The biggest thing is, who is it that's hearing it? I'm hearing it, but who is it in me that is hearing it? And so it's dualistic. On the one hand, there is the you that has all of the mirror image stuff of what you are thinking about and reflecting it back to you. And you are coming up with ideas that are going to improve your life, maybe, but they're ideas you're just playing around with. You're thinking, maybe I should go do this. And it's saying, well, what happens if you do this? Well, that argument goes on forever until you do nothing. And it's trying to create fear. So now there is also this higher self, the one that is on program, not for the matrix, but for you. It is that part of you that is not in the body, that higher part of you, that, call it a soul, call it a spirit, call it just energy if you want, whatever you want to label it, it doesn't matter. But it is, now it's starting to get crowded. There's three of you. There's you, who's the one that's talking in the ego. There's you in the higher self, the one who's listening and is talking, and then there's you in the middle. But if you really start to think about what's what, the ego is totally manufactured in the mind and has the negative. It's the reflection. You, on the other hand, don't hear your higher self. You feel it. It is part of you. It's within you. Call it the good angel or whatever that's sitting on your shoulder, but it is you. The mind is attached to the body, and you are in between. The mind thinks it runs you, but the higher self, the mind is totally unaware of. It believes it has you under control, but that is not the real you that it thinks it is talking to, because it is totally unaware of the higher self, and the higher self is aware of everything. So to get out of this dualistic back and forth that we have between ourselves, we become one with that higher self. The lower self is now the duality with nobody to talk to, because now it is aware that you are not who it thought you were. Boy, does this ever get really weird, doesn't it? But anyway, so if you're still following this thing, that ability to take that ego, because it is valuable information, but you have to put it into a position of not being something other than you. It is part of you. So you bring it to within you, and now there is no more argument that you don't need that perspective, because you and your higher self are one, and the argument is only held within you, because there really is nothing outside of you anyway. That whole projection of life that we are living in is something that you and embody within the higher self, and you are going to bring all the feelings of this outer life, this projection, the emotional parts of it, the feeling, the energy, is what you are trying to feel, and that is what you're going to take back with you. But it has nothing to do with the body. The human body is just a vehicle. We drop in, we do it, and then we leave again. But that higher self is always with you. When we do what we think is, we call dying, is the fact that we're just going to basically go to a higher frequency, just tuning the channel enough to get out of this physical thing that's falling apart and move into a more energetic being, or come back into this being, a type of being, a physical body again, and have a whole new program under to start up in. But it is just repeating, because that's the whole objective, is to feel everything. But you got to remember that too, that this is just one window in this thing we call life. This particular physical life is just one dimension within a billion, unnumberable. You can't put numbers that high. There's so many different reflections that you try, and you feel everything, and then move on to another one. But it's just different versions of the same thing. I always have this feeling it's like what a fly sees. Looking through the eye of a fly is like looking through 100 eyes or 1,000, all looking at different perspectives of the same area, but in different directions. So it's that ability to bring all of those visions together in something as small as a fly. So it can fly around. It sees behind itself. It sees ahead of itself. Birds, it turns out, have got the ability to see magnetic waves. So they fly from Alaska all the way down to Mexico, and the senses, they're on a flyway that is guided by the magnetic fields. And that ability to see those, we can't even relate to. So there is many, many, many things in this life that we don't know unless we go looking for it. And once we find it, there's another feeling we get to take back, to be able to see that light that I can't see. That's what happened when I had my NDE. It was that light. I can't describe it, because you're looking right into it, and it's not so bright that it blinds you. Where if you looked into a 100-watt light bulb and stare at it, you're going to see that light bulb for the next half hour, probably walking around in front of you. But that thing with that light, it can't be described. It can only be felt. And I guess that's the message I'm trying to get through, is that going through this life, we need to try and get to where we're not going to let what is happening in the physical change the purpose of our life, the direction that we are trying to get to feel all the things that are on our schedule to feel. And it's all scheduled, it's all laid out there, we're just experiencing it. The movie's been put in the can and everything. The only thing that's missing is the audience and the audio. So we're going to fill in all the audio, and the script is going to be then played out in front of the audience. But it's all you. You're the only one experiencing your life. There is nothing outside of you. You are the singularity in this movie. And so that whole thing about what happens is happening to you, if you can get that out of your head and put yourself in that position of just being a passenger on the bus, and the bumpy road you get to feel, but you aren't the tires, you aren't going to take the beating, really. You're just in there for the ride. And the next stop, any stop, you can get off. We always have that ability to say, I am done. And if you truly are done, then you'll be done. And you'll just be in that, nothing changes for you. You're just going to change frequency and float off the bus. But the thing is, everybody is just like you. We are all in this individual dimension that is us, and everything outside of it is just a projection, just that thought that we project to be the script for what we are going to experience going ahead. And the whole object is to find the treasure and feel it, and then bring it back with you. And for the rest of eternity, you now have what that felt like. Now you move on to the next thing, and there'll be another thing after that, and it's one after the other. That's the whole thing. We're going up the rungs of the ladder. But we're taught in this whole time, from the time we get born, we are taught that we have something out there that is hanging over us that we need to fear. And it's because every time somebody else goes through that door, they never come back. And that's not good. Well, the trouble is that you can't see what's on that other side. And it's by design. Until you have that ability to hold it all within you and feel that that is nothing to be afraid of. It's just the tuning of a frequency knob on the radio. You're getting a different channel, but the channel is playing whether you're listening or not. but it's not a feeling until you listen to it. Those radio waves are bouncing through here right now. You can't hear a single thing. I don't know what's playing on the radio till I have a tuner that'll tune that music in, and then I can search for the one that feels best and I want to listen to. Myself, I'm a baby boomer, man. I want to listen to the 60s and the 70s, even the 50s. But you move me into the 80s, I don't get the beat. So I don't want to listen to that frequency. And the closer you get to today, I'm 75. Most of what I'm hearing out there on the radio is something I just really, it rubs me the total wrong way. It's like static. So the frequency isn't right. I go back to my channel. So, but I'm still filling my life up here with new feelings. So I've got to get off my old horse and try to ride some of the new stuff. Myself, I'm just enthralled with this young generation. On the surface, they're just like us. My parents thought we were nuts. I mean, the 60s, oh man. I protested the war and then volunteered to go in the Navy. So to a lot of people, it didn't make sense. But my patriotism was stronger than my fear. And so I enlisted because my dad enlisted in World War II. He was on PT boats out there getting shot at by big steel ships, and he was riding around on a plywood boat. That wasn't, something to be taken lightly. It altered his whole life. I saw many times when he was doing things, and I could see him reflecting back, and I could see sometimes the dread on his face when he got to something that brought back that memory that he really was trying to forget. And then I experienced that same thing. I was in the Navy. I was never under any danger. I sat in a black room. We were, originally when I went in, I was a radarman, operated the radar. But it was much more than that. We were the lookouts on the ship when the fog came in, or even at night. And we were the eyes of the whole fleet sometimes. Especially, I never experienced having the admiral on board, but I worked in the area where he would be if he came on board. So we could have command of an entire fleet out on the sea. And we usually, most of the people on board that ship couldn't tell you where the hell we were at any given moment. You were just doing your job, and there was nothing to see except ocean, no matter which way you looked. So that life became kind of secluded. We weren't aware of anything that was happening off the ship other than what we got on the Armed Forces radio, which was all whitewashed really well. And I mean, when I got out and I went home, everybody was in an uproar over this thing called Watergate. And the president was being thrown out of office. And I'm going, holy crap, this guy's the one who's been telling us to do what we were doing. And I had a lot of arguments with that guy because of what he was telling us to do. And so it was just bizarre that we didn't know anything about this. And we just had an election. And in the military, you could vote on an absentee ballot if you had it set up right. But most of the guys don't even vote. At least they didn't back then. They had no idea what to vote for and who would be running. They didn't even know if they were going to go back and live in that state again. Your whole life was kind of on hold while you were in the military. You don't even have to renew your driver's license until you get out. So I had the same driver's license, which we used to renew every 2 years, I think it was. So I had it for 6 years. It's just the way it was. But I didn't drive for 6 years. I was out in the middle of the ocean, foreign countries and whatnot. So the life outside of us is our script, and nobody else is ever going to be able to live your life and experience what you experienced. That's why the feelings you have, you are taking it back, not just for you. Everybody gets to feel what it felt like to be you when they get there. So anyway, I know this all kind of flies in the face of a lot of belief systems we have in this world. When you really get down to studying the religion of this world, no matter which one you believe in, it comes down to the fact that it doesn't really make any difference, because the religions are just the PR line. It's politics, it's military in some cases. It's about power and control and money. And the fact of the matter is that, like Jesus was saying, that nobody wanted him to say, and they wanted to keep everybody from hearing, was that you are the church. You are God. You are Jesus. You are the Christ energy incarnated in you. I don't call it Christ, I call it Reiki, because that's the energy that I use. But it's the same energy. It's just a different name. And if you get to really understanding what the Christ energy is and what Jesus and others have been saying, whether you're any religion at all, that energy is within you. It is a bodily function to be able to tap into that energy and use it. So when he's talking about healing the sick and walking around and doing all this stuff that he was doing, that is the same thing you can do on yourself or anybody else once you know how to change that frequency. That's what he was teaching. He got crucified because he said there was no need for the church. There was no need for priests. There was no need for any books. Everything is within you. You are God. And no lightning bolt just came down and hit me. It never will. I've seen it. I've stood there in front of that light, and I know that, hey, this is not anything close to what that is. And once you've felt that, you want to experience everything you can so you can take it back with you to fulfill that need to feel everything. And you'll just move on again. So anyway, I hope it will make sense to somebody. You guys have a good day, and yeah, give me a like if you liked it. Put a question on if you got anything. Share it. Anyway, have a good one. Talk to you all later.